Adam Schefter. The Dolphins have made it clear that Tua is their guy, but the two sides are still working out the money in the deal. Boy, these deals take a while, huh? It's been like 5 months of working out the money. Schefter also noted that Tua is not as close to his new contract as Jordan Love is with the Packers. I'll tell you this, Colin, if my new deal with Fox or whatever takes as long as his Tua deal, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. The season ended in January. It's July. He doesn't have a new deal? What's the working out the money over 6 months? Actions, not words, Colin. You know that. This is not a good sign for Tua. It can't be.
Well, I think this stuff is really hard.
Oh, really?
I think quarterbacks, because it's the highest paid player on the team, I think it's hard. I think even when you like a quarterback, I mean, good God, they've already redone Mahomes' deal twice. I mean, all this stuff is incredibly difficult.
Oh, yeah. A good front office actually gets something done. Imagine how that works.
Miami front office is a mixed bag. Some good stuff. Some good stuff.
Mixed bag.
I mean, they did hire Mike McDaniel. They deserve a lot of credit.
That was
for
a big W for them.
You got to give. I will say this with the Dolphins, and this is where they deserve absolute credit. This was a Brian Flores angry defensive vibe, and they went light, fun, progressive offense, and I mean they flipped the switch. Tua's a bench warmer to Tua's a star. Miami, and that's hard. Teams struggle to do this. Miami literally said, and Flores was not a disaster. He turned the franchise around. They were awful when he got there, and very quickly, by about week 8, first year, you're like, wow. And, I mean, special teams and defense were elite. And they're like, no, we're going to flip this thing. Tua looked like a whiff. And they flipped to an offensive franchise virtually overnight.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of wins since. We got to give them credit for that.
Correction, regular season
Okay.
wins. We haven't seen the playoff success.
Tua
had a damn good year. I'll say this, and, you know, Mike McDaniel is a little under the radar, right? Because he hasn't had the playoff success. But in terms of interesting, if you're like, Jay, give me 3 coaches in the NFL. If you could have dinner and 3 guests, Mike McDaniel's definitely one of the 3 coaches. I think he's a fascinating guy, Yale educated, kind of nerdy. How are these big hulking NFL players listening to squirrely little Mike McDaniel? I'm fascinated by this guy. I'm a little jealous that the Jets didn't get him. But I think he's a great coach.
Yeah, I think what Mike McDaniel is, he's good for the Dolphins, and he's really fun for the league. You know, it's you forget, but in the 70s and 80s, Miami was a huge brand in this country. And there were Dolphin bars all over cities like Seattle and Denver, and Don Shula won for 30 years, and Dan Marino. People forget that. Miami was a massive brand. Now it's a heat city. But it used to be a hurricane city and a dolphin city before Pat Riley got there. And so Miami's also been just a different market. It's the warmest winter market. The aqua water, it's got a rich history. They're like the Warriors. You forget how good the Warriors were in the 70s, so people forgot about them. And then the minute they're good, that you can't get a ticket. It's the highest priced seat in the league. Miami in the 70s and 80s was one of the top 2 or 3 franchises forever.
I wasn't born, but the Golden State Warriors were good in the 70s?
They were great.
Wow, who'd they have?
Rick Barry.
Oh, Rick Barry.
Al
I've heard the name.
Addles, Clifford Ray, Jeff Mullins, Keith Wilkes.
You guys like how I did that, right? I just wedged in more 70s sports where Cowherd really cooks. I mentioned 70s. The light just goes off, and you're just on fire. Final story is, yes, the New England Patriots. They got Drake May.
We'll get a reboot, talented kid, and they have Jarrett Stidham, who they could use potentially as a very nice trade piece. 66 quarterbacks played in the NFL last year. Pretty nice to have 3 guys, and you could move 2 of them. So if Bo Nix hits, the Russell Wilson drama is irrelevant. The dude completed 77% of his passes last year. He's Drew Brees with mobility potentially. And I'm going to tell you something now, and nobody wants to say this because fear drives so many decisions in the NFL. The word dead cap. When you hear that, everybody thinks, it's a funeral. It's an NFL funeral. Dead cap money. I would much rather have teams take swings and end up with a little dead cap. 4 of the 5 highest dead cap hits last year made the playoffs. Green Bay took a big swing. They moved off Aaron Rodgers. Buccaneers made a big swing with Brady, won a Super Bowl. And then they took a swing on Baker. If Bo Nix can play, then the Russell Wilson thing, it's going to be last year's news. Nobody's going to care. Take a big swing. It's either going to get you gold bars and trophies or close to it. And if not, it's amazing the opportunities that arise if you hit on a draft pick. You don't even have to have Caleb Williams. Brock Purdy is getting to big games. Bo Nix can absolutely do the same with Sean Payton. So The Athletic did a survey with Dallas Cowboy fans. And the results are in. And, generally, and we get this, fans have blinders on. College, pro, doesn't matter. East, west, north, south, middle of the country, it doesn't matter. Bad teams, see the most optimistic, hopeful outcome. I get it. That's what's great about fans. But Cowboy fans have been beaten down for so long, I would argue they are now currently more realistic than their owners. Listen to this. They were asked if one of these three players could still be on the Cowboys 3 years from now, who would it be? Dak, Micah, or CeeDee Lamb? Runaway winner was Micah Parsons. Second easily was CeeDee Lamb. Dak third. In my opinion, that should be the order. The second question, what grade would you give the Cowboys for this offseason? Almost 40% of Cowboy fans said a D. That would be the right answer. The next question, who is the Cowboys' most overrated player? In a landslide, Dak Prescott. Nobody really close. That, in my opinion, is the right answer. And finally, there's one more here. Will the Cowboys be in the Super Bowl the next 5 years? That's quite a tarmac. That's quite a runway. 78.8% said, no, we know who the owner is. When you're young and innocent, you believe in everything. The tooth fairy, magic, Santa. And then life humbles you, and the reality of your personal limitations set in. Right now, Cowboy fans, again, are more realistic than their owners. That's what this team is. An elite pass rusher. Cowboys deserve credit for drafting him. An elite wide receiver, better than I thought he would be as a pro, CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys deserve credit for drafting him. And a quarterback that, if they do pay him, will pay him like Patrick Mahomes, and he's much closer to Kirk Cousins. And Cowboy fans, even in the question, will you win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? Not 1 or 2, 5. 80% or close to it said no. Optimism and hope have been flushed out realistically by grief and reality. Tip of the sad cap to Dallas Cowboy fans, officially the most realistic fans in America. I'm not sure what you get for that, but it's something. J-Mac with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the...
All right, here we go on a loaded Tuesday, live in Los Angeles. It's The Herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. Joel Klatt in an hour from now. All the Big Ten predictions are coming out. Mark Sanchez stops by as well. J-Mac, I come in with energy. I come in peace. I come with energy today. Fundraising for our show and Kamala Harris appear to be in the right direction. Fundraising.
Political references right out the gate.
Injected with big money.
Hey, you want a funny Sanchez story real quick?
Yeah.
So I was in the airport in Netherlands, and some lady's wearing a Mark Sanchez jersey. Mark Sanchez jersey. So I text him, Sanchez, check out this picture. He's like, I'll stop by. He was in like Switzerland or something. Sanchez has a crazy
hopefully you
life.
didn't harass the young lady.
I did not.
Speaking of Jets, Hassan Reddick, who they got from Philadelphia, defensive end, good player, veteran, kind of expensive. It's official. He's not showing up to camp. When they made this trade for a third-round pick, they didn't have this part figured out. They didn't give him a new deal. What's going on here? It's July 23rd. I'll repeat, it's July 23rd. Camps are open now. Aaron Rodgers has already missed the mandatory minicamp. Hassan Reddick's a no-show. There's been a story leak that Arthur Smith was going to get hired to babysit their offense.